welcome. Thank you for attending the workshop on metrology for digital transformation and for your interest on the working group of National Metrology Institute's digital transformation strategies. My name is Hugo Gasca and I will meet you in this working group during the workshop. I currently work at CENAM's General Management as Project Coordinator. I'm also in charge of the Mathematics and Statistics Advisory. And last year, 2019, I was appointed as champion for the digital transformation strategy at CENAM. I like to explore new ideas, so feel free to send me an email in case you have any comments. Let's first talk about who is involved in this effort at CENAM. Senior management has displayed a clear commitment by actively participating in technical meetings, reviewing general plans, oversighting of general progress, attending some of the internal workshops and presentations, setting priorities, and by orchestrating interactions with other players such as industrial clusters, research centers, and related government entities. Last year, in September, a champion was appointed for the initiative, and this was officially communicated to the CENAM's board of directors. Currently, there are participating representatives from all the technical areas at CENAM. In total, there are 22 colleagues out of about 300 scientists and technicians. Roughly speaking, that's about 6% of population at CENAM, working partial time in these activities. This initiative was established through an open invitation process to all CENAM's people to freely participate, with a combination of millennials and veteran scientists, middle management, and agile practitioners. A brainstorming exercise was conducted and 5 working groups were initially defined by consensus. These groups are working on themes of interest such as item automatic identification, automatic data acquisition in labs, digital certificates for the services, systems integration, and digital transformation projects for Industry 4.0. There were detected more activities and working themes such as Internet of Things, the metrology cloud, artificial intelligence or smart devices, autonomous vehicles, and so on, smart grid. However, we agreed on developing these 5 themes first. A leader was designated for each working group, and goals were set for a period of the next 6 months. Where possible, efforts were aligned to current or future government programs. Also, industry clusters from the Querétaro state were notified of CENAM's initiative, and CENAM was invited to become a member of these clusters to actively collaborate in ongoing and new projects. Here we can see an histogram with the distribution of the part-time participants. Most of them are half-time, some are a quarter of time, and the less are full-time. The full-time indeed means that they are highly available, so to speak. We are busy with business as usual, like calibration services, writing reports, conducting training, participating in research projects, conducting proficiency testing, or participating in key comparisons, attending meetings, certifying reference materials, and so on. So this means regular operation has higher priority than this initiative. The goals and the targets were aligned to the new administration programs for 2024, but also there are components contributed to the Vision 2030 program of the organization for economic cooperation and development. We are working to seek, basically in general, improvement. So we are working to seek cheaper and faster services with increasing quality, updated systems and procedures, also strengthen the current chains of value for the different user sectors, new metrological services to be developed, uh, new technology to be developed, metrological data cloud as a fundamental part of the national quality infrastructure. We also envision a regional metrology network as a possibility, um, surviving the globalization process that we are facing, and as I say, just improvement in general. As examples for these cheaper and faster services or new services, we think of smart grids, technology, 5G communication network, and both of them lead us to national synchrony network development and establishment, um, and this finally leads us to have better timekeepers or atomic clocks. Another example would be non-contact metrology, virtual and remote metrology, and digital twins technology. Um, Also, we seek to contribute to new online businesses such as energy provision and monitoring systems, companies, smart cities developers and providers, and smart homes developers. There are a few basic rules or guidelines that we are following, such as I mentioned before, regular operation has higher priority than digital transformation initiative. Historically, CENAM has faced federal budget of deficit, and this is a very strong factor to not distract us from gathering fresh incomes for other than the federal budget. We also use the chains of value methodology, and I will show an example of this of a chain of value for the digital transformation initiative. This methodology has been successfully applied in other sectors such as manufacturing, communications, energy, and also emergent technologies. For those of you that do not know about it, the chain of value displays a network from the competences of the provider, in this case the National Metrology Institute, going across the allies and the stakeholders, also through the delivery channels, and then at the product and the final users. This technique allows to detect broken chains or missing links between disconnected nodes by products and the final users. That's the value that we are delivering. That's why the name of the chain of value. We also are using the creative thinking. No bad ideas ideas are not labeled. People are asked to express and explain their ideas freely, and we are asked to think out of the box. By inviting also openly and freely participation in this initiative, we also obtain self-motivated people, readiness and availability of them. We are convinced that combining knowledge and willing is the best, but if we cannot have both, then certainly willing supersedes knowledge. We also apply the divide and conquer techniques. If a working package is too big, then divide it in smaller components and delivered in shorter iterations. We are learning all the time, and here I wrote we learn faster, but indeed that's a question. Can we also learn how to learn faster? Well, in doing so, we must be willing to forget the not good enough practices, and in that sense, we have found resistance to change at CENAM. It is always a good idea to start any journey by realizing where we are. In this sense, we conducted a diagnostic analysis and we set a baseline for several things, such as the laboratory's automation level, for training needs on digital transformation. We also conducted a digital transformation maturity diagnostic. However, each of these themes are extensive enough for another video. Some working groups have good performance. So each 6 months, six months period seems to be large enough to do something interesting and significant, and short enough to show results soon. At the beginning, we thought about to set a 4 months period for deliveries for each cycle. However, we faced the pandemic situation, and that period has been extended to 6 months. The efforts at the beginning seemed to be disconnected, and by now we start seeing that they are converging, so they become connected. For example, by working on digital certificates, we also start looking at the metrological database cloud and massive data processing and the first drafts of digital twins for metrology instruments and activities. Also, along the way, we found some new efforts emerged. They were identified as required efforts. These were digital culture. As I mentioned before, some resistance was evident, and also some lack of basic knowledge and awareness were identified on digital transformation, on digital culture. So both were identified as gaps to be filled, and in order to reduce this gap, a new working group was created and to attend this need. We also found knowledge transfer on digital platforms. This extends the current activities of training, coaching, special advisory, and include remote training, conducted webinars, but also the need to update training materials and the inclusion of new tools with the knowledge transfer events. This need was increased also by the SARS-CoV-2 pandemic situation. Related to this, we also face the need to handle or to learn how to handle virtual events, and we need virtual events management skills. This is also related to knowledge transfer, and in general, for the increasing need of handling massive events, we start developing skills to manage virtual events beyond the kind of small groups of participants, such as a conference meeting. We found that the complexity of these kind of problems that we need to solve increases exponentially with the number of participants because of the interactions, communication failures, tools configuration that are required, timing, and so on. So we identify the need to training on these technologies, and also the need to learning on the way. As an example, we organized the virtual World Metrology Day 2020 at CENAM with the participation of more than 800 visitors. And the event, we have metrology video conferences by expert speakers from CENAM. We have virtual visits to the laboratories and also virtual instrument simulations to play with. The next thing that we have learned is about choosing the right people to conform the teams. So people with different skills, soft and hard skills are required, and we are learning to play roles. It has nothing to do with hierarchical positions, And of course, this may not be welcomed by all participants, either participants or observers that are not directly participating in the effort or the initiative. If possible, participate in current and future government programs to support industry and academia. Try to give visibility to the NMI effort by committing with other players to envision and collaborate to build a new and better services for the industry, health, academia, and environment. For example, we started working on proposals for the government about 4 years ago. We had elections 2 years ago. Some of us were asked to submit personal proposals to the government. Some others, we have collaborating proposals submitted as an institution, as CENAM. 2 weeks ago, a new quality infrastructure law was decreed, which covers metrology aspects and normalization, accreditation, regulatory, and legal metrology, among other government aspects. I would say that we were lucky to participate, but to be honest, it is not lucky. It takes a lot of energy and brains to orchestrate the opportunities and being prepared and making proposals available on time. It also has been a lot of work to make things happen, and this may well be the beginning of a bigger effort. Of course, these actions surpass the scope of the Digital Transformation Initiative, and it includes collaboration from smart people and chief officers at CENAM outside the current working groups. Anyways, it is convenient to start before than after, and try to add at your own country nationals program, even if the new required positions or jobs are not for you in the end. Here you can find a preliminary version of the value chain for metrology for digital transformation at CENAM. The nodes represent different kind of processes or roles. On the first column there are NMI's measurement competences. The second column contains some of the players of the national quality infrastructure to interact with and to be supported. Also some of the international standards to comply with. We can also look at them as processes, constraints, or communication protocols. The third column contains the offering services and projects, and the extreme right column has the final users or the end users and user sectors. The notation includes nodes that are processes, entities that describe the chain rings. The empty nodes contain only basic identification and poor implementation, not full implementation yet. The field nodes are fully identified entities. Roles are fully implemented roles. The dotted lines or arrows represent the value flow or dependence throughout all the value chain. For clarity, only links crossing the columns are shown here, but of course there may also exist links within the same column, and there are some that are not shown in this diagram. This diagram can be used to define the current state of the effort, but it also can be used to plan for planning purpose of new versions or future versions in the next iteration or next target to work. For example, we can think of right now the field in the third column we have digital certificates with certain progress, and smart devices calibration is totally empty in implementation. So we could set a goal for the next iteration or the next cycle. For example, in the next 6 months to have some progress implemented on smart devices calibration as part of our plan. We also identify some of the international standards already available, and we identified the need of training us in those standards to comply with, and also we identify other players in the national quality infrastructure. Some of the components are hypercentral, are very highly interacting with other components, such as the National Metrology Cloud Platform. Indeed, there may be cases where some other players already develop their own version or limited version of these kind of platforms, and we eventually need to integrate them somehow. Some of the representations in these other working groups in the past days that we have shown some progress in some of these themes, and we have had the opportunity to share that progress in some of the other videos. In this case, those are represented by in this diagram as fillet nodes, such as digital certificates effort. This is just a view of the value chain. Of course, there is more information that describe it that is not shown here, such as the inbound and outbound logistics, the detailed operations of each node, and the marketing and support services description. Next steps include reviews and evaluation of the progress of each of the working groups. Take cover of working groups with deficient progress or results. Define the new scopes for the next cycles or sprints for the current projects, the current products. Integrate where possible the track products in the current value chains, and also formalize the building blocks. Some of the products are training material, some are there are some issues there on copyright and authorship, reusable software components for data acquisition and storage, orchestration with other government entities, and well, there's an open question here, orchestration with other NMIs for a bigger effort and coordination. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please don't forget to write your comments or send your questions, write them down, and see you at the workshop sessions. Thank you again.